Greetings. I just wanted to pop on here real quick because I learned something new through this whole arrest jail experience, through talking to people that I didn't know. And I feel kind of like an idiot, but you know what? There's probably more idiots out there like me who didn't know this, so I figure, hey, PSA time, right? So basically, I didn't know that there was a difference between being arrested and going to jail. I thought anytime you're arrested, you go to jail. I thought that's what the point was. That was part of my panic attack and whatnot, but after I spoke to some people, they were like, well, I got arrested, but I didn't go to jail. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And I literally had to ask them sometimes several times, like they just assumed that I knew what that meant. When I thought, if you're arrested, you go to jail. Okay? And they were like, well, I was brought down to the station and I was fingerprinted, but then I got to go home. And I was like, oh, so being arrested just means that you go down to the station and then you can bail yourself right away out. It doesn't mean that you have to stay overnight in jail. And then I realized, okay, so that's what happened when I was arrested and I was trying to ask the police officer. I basically had a full-blown panic attack. And he was like, girl, you need to stop doing this or you're going to go to jail. And I was like, oh, so I don't have to go to jail if I just go in the back of your car? But then why am I going in the back of your car? I don't understand. You know, like, what's going to happen to my car? And he's like, well, you're going to get arrested no matter what. And I was like, but I just thought you said that I won't have to go to jail. And like, he never clarified like that getting arrested doesn't mean that you're not going to jail. And he probably didn't think he'd have to. So yeah, I know this is going to sound really weird or stupid, but like the first time someone was like, oh, I was arrested, but I didn't go to jail, I was like imagining that like just sitting in the back seat of a police car was considered being arrested because you were like confined to the back of a police car. No, I don't think that's considered being arrested. I think you actually have to go to the station. That's why I was like, well, he was like, well, you're going to get arrested either way. I was like, what does that mean? So basically, I could have been arrested, supposedly, and not have to spend the night in jail. But then when I checked into the jail and did my fingerprinting and everything, and there's that lobby that I talked about in my jail story, which is I got arrested and I would be in the lobby, which just doesn't make any sense. Like, why take me there at all? Why impound my car? I guess because I'm driving with a suspended license and it's like I shouldn't have been driving. Anyway, I'm trying to make sense of all this. So this is healing to just process it, and it's healing to inform and educate other people so that it doesn't happen to them. That's a way to channel my anger, is to educate people, right? So basically, the woman that did my fingerprints, I was like, oh, okay, so I could just, you know, go home now? Like, I don't have to stay. And she was like, no, the officer didn't know that you actually have to go to jail because the judge left for the day or something like that. So the judge would be the one that would determine my bail. And so she's like, you can't do court again until 7 or 8 in the morning. Anyway, I was full-blown panic attack. But that's basically the difference between getting arrested and going to jail. Either way, you go down to the police station, but it doesn't mean you're necessarily put behind bars, behind a door, and checked into jail just because you're arrested. So when someone says you're under arrest, you don't have to go through a full panic attack like I did, because it doesn't mean that you're going to be behind bars and caged like a wild animal, which shouldn't be caged anyway. So basically, the reason why I'm guessing that Trump is not going to spend the night in jail is because his bail has already been posted. So if he pays the bail, that's how it works, right? You don't have to go to jail. Set the kitty free. That's the whole point in innocent until proven guilty, is that you show up to court before you show up to jail. And the only reason why you have bail is to assure that you're coming to court. Yeah, innocent until proven guilty if you have the money, right? It's a crime to be poor, right? I guess most people have to wait for the bail hearing, and that's why they spend the night in jail. But if you already know the bail, you just show up to the station and you pay it, and then you come back when the court date is happening, right? So that's what I'm guessing is going on. And I don't know why no one explains that to us, because it's just this big, like, fear, like, prison, you know, which is a whole other story. I think it's a very abusive system, and it needs to be completely rearranged for the mental health of the universe. I guess the question is he just going to a courthouse to pay the bond, or is he actually going to check into the jail and get fingerprinted and mugshotted and then go home? I don't know. I learn something new every day. This is a crazy world that we live in. There's not bars, you know, it's not like the movies, and the mugshot doesn't even have like you holding up a date. I have a mugshot. Woohoo, that's my mugshot. Let me get re-traumatized and look at how traumatized my face looks.
Mommy, what are you talking about?
Don't worry about it, Scribbles. So, does that make sense? The difference between being arrested and being in jail is, well, obviously, if you're in jail, you were arrested also, but just because you've been arrested does not mean you're necessarily going to jail. I'm still angry about everything. Perhaps I'll tell you more about
what happened
during the arrest scenario.
another time.
Love y'all. Learn from me. Call the DMV, the DDS. Find out if you have a suspended license. It's a racket in Georgia, and we're going to change that.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.